Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 27th of January, comes to you from Verbier in Switzerland. And we start by looking at currencies, then stock markets, commodities, and some tech stocks at the end. And each day we talk about themes that are going on, and the themes generally haven't changed. The one changing theme is the dollar index is now rising, and we're seeing that we're back through this the cloud. So the key theme there is one of just the dollar is now strengthening again. U.S. market still strong. Commodities just coming off a little bit, but not much, and tech still very strong. That's the one given that seems to be just holding true. So we're seeing the dollar index coming out of the 60-minute cloud here. We have got quite a bit of resistance now to fight here, but we are just seeing that dollar's short-term strength kicking in. We're back above the 100 mark on the index. And if we take a look at the euro, that of course is bearish for the euro, and we're starting to see that downturn as well. So even though we've had quite a bit of euro strength showing up in these charts, it's now a case in the 60-minute chart of negating these targets one by one. So we've got this support to fall through. If we start breaking these targets down, they come off the chart, and then those medium and longer term trends with downside targets start to dominate. If we look at Japanese yen, the dollar has been strengthening here too, very much so. So that's weaker yen, stronger dollar, and we're seeing that in the charts here. So that's another sign that the dollar is now returning. And sterling has been strong as well, not yet turning bearish against the dollar like the euro and the yen, but we are just starting to see that sell off. And it will be interesting to see if we can hold this cloud position. We're just starting to make this medium-term transition. No clear long and medium-term targets though, and we still do have these downside targets. So sterling not as weak as the other currencies, but we are just seeing that. And here we see the sterling strength against the euro. It's fairly flat in terms of the change there. We're seeing the Swiss franc was as high as 127 yesterday against sterling, and we are still just holding this position, and we are through the cloud more convincingly here. So that's one area where sterling is strong. And then if we look at the Australian dollar, we see here that we are still holding that sterling is still holding its position, but reversing right on the resistance line here. So pretty key as well. S&P 500 index was down very slightly, 0.08%. So just pausing for breath really. New upside, all these upside targets are here to play for now. So as one as high as 6%, 6.8%, and we're just seeing really the market running again. And looking at the Nasdaq was up very slightly as well, with quite a few tech stocks reporting, Google and Microsoft. So we see here that it's looking pretty bullish. The Russell 2000 index was actually down 0.5%. And the Dow Jones is holding that magic 20,000 level, so it's not like it's just popped through there and pulled back. So looking pretty strong there. The futures looking mixed this morning, just in terms of where the US market will open. No real clear direction from that. FTSE is still below the cloud here, so not seeing the US market strength that we've seen. Stronger pound has had a bit of an effect there on the FTSE 100, and the FTSE 250 just barely changed as well yesterday, and is bearish below the cloud as well. But these markets still looking pretty good, medium and long term. The DAX has actually continued its bullish position in terms of being above the cloud on all charts and just kicking up as well. So the DAX is actually looking pretty strong based on the euro. Hang Seng was down very slightly last night, and China up very slightly. So No real story there. The Sensex index in India continues to power ahead and is above the cloud now on all three time frames, looking pretty strong. A shortage of short-term targets, but medium and long-term still looks amazing. Australian market back after the holiday, Australia Day holiday yesterday, up 0.75%. Not quite through on the cloud yet, but all these upside targets still very much in train. Brent crude, we've been saying high 50s. We're at 56 at the moment. We're still above the cloud on all three time frames, so that's pretty bullish. We do have these upside targets. 56.80 area is where we expect to get to, so that's another $0.50 or so from here. Still looking pretty bullish, and much the same is true, of course, for Texas. Light crude, same thing. We're above the cloud with upside targets to play for. US nat gas, just really struggling around this 3.30 level, $3.30, falling away again yesterday from 3.50. So quite a big fall back there yesterday, but it is bullish above the cloud still. We're not quite through on the lagging line, but we do have these downside targets. So just a very mixed picture there. We've talked about gold quite a bit. Gold had a big sell-off yesterday and is falling further this morning. The interesting thing here is we've now locked on the medium-term chart. We've locked this upside column, and that's suggesting 13.96 is the level. If we then move higher, which would take us higher than the high that we saw last year, so that's quite significant. But at the moment, we're falling quite a lot on the short-term chart. Is this the beginning of hitting the cloud from below and a fall away with the lagging line coming lower? Still a bit early to say, but we do have a new upside target. It's now a case of, do we make new lows or do we go higher and activate that target? So gold just looking weak again below the cloud short term, not looking great. And the same, of course, is true for silver with a downside target of 3% and some quite big downside target there of 26%. Taking a look at US Treasury notes, still holding that 250 level, bullish on the yield on all charts here, and we're seeing 260s, 262, 268, so 10-year Treasury yields just gradually building. Apple barely changed overnight, and so that was we're still bullish on all three time frames. Google disappointed a little bit on their results overnight, so it'd be interesting to see where they open today. But we see here the charts are still bullish, so any fallback is potentially going to be short-lived. Amazon up strongly, 0.62%. So again, just bullish on all three time frames. Tech is looking really good. Microsoft reported last night, slightly ahead of expectations, and in post-trade they were up, and also we're just seeing here that the charts are just looking great on all three time frames. And last of all, Facebook. Facebook actually up at 1% again last night, just started to take out this high that we saw in October, and so of course new highs are good. Bullish in all three time frames, and still quite a bit of upside to play for. Interesting, the downside target, there was a downside target on this chart. That downside target has been negated. It's all upside now, and we've got some pretty big targets, multiple targets, telling us that Facebook is probably going to do pretty well. That's it for today. Until Monday, back in London, happy charting. See you then.